Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal Mr. Butter coming back at you. I want to get into a pair of kicks today that it's a silhouette that we're all familiar with. It's the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star. I think most of us, if we're sneakerheads, even if we're not sneakerheads, it's a real common shoe. It's very unique and recognizable. There's a lot of history to it, but I want to look at a pair today that is actually a collaboration with a designer out of South Korea. The brand is called thisisneverthat. They've been on my radar for a minute, but this is the first article of clothing that I've had by this brand, or even as a collaboration with this brand. I love the style, I love the materials, and I want to show you guys and see what you think of them as well. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Mrs. Butter's laughing at me from the window. Let's get into these kicks. So real quick, I always start by showing the box. It's just a nice gray color. And here we've got the Converse star and Converse branding. And then thisisneverthat. I think that's such a cool name. Just the name alone, thisisneverthat, piques my interest and makes me want to see what's up with it. Not too much going on with the box. I don't know if all Chuck Taylors have this measurement on the bottom of the box, but I think that's pretty cool. So I'll have to look at my other pairs. This is actually only my third pair of Chucks in the collection. So I'm happy to add this pair into my personal pile. And the tag reads Converse, and thisisneverthat, Chuck Taylor High. This is a UK 10, which is also a US 10. And the color is listed as lemon icing and pastel yellow. Sounds delicious. And then enough of that box talk. Would you look at these? I actually sent a picture of these to a friend of mine, DJ Matt, so shout out to you. But he was talking about being into Chucks, or his girlfriend being into Chucks, and I had just got these in. So I sent this picture to him, and he said they look like they survived the flood. And it was funny because he said that, however, he followed that up with, and I love them. And I think that's a great description of them. They definitely have that aged look on the midsole and that classic toe cap there on the front. You can tell that they coated them in something that just would give them an antique look. Either that, or they had somebody smoking a whole bunch of packs of cigarettes right beside them. But I'm pretty sure that they just painted that on there. I really like that. I really like the print that it has here on the midsole that says thisisneverthat. And it says Converse here as well. And then on the back, I like how one shoe says thisisneverthat and the other shoe says Converse All-Star. But altogether, I just think these are a really, really cool looking pair of shoes. Chuck Taylors were cool when I was in school. They were cool before I was in school. They've really never gone out of style. And what I love about these is, although I've had plenty of pairs of Chucks, I've never had a pair that was all suede on the upper like this. And along with the midsole, I think that's what I noticed the most right off the bat, is just this material is really, really good quality. So hopefully that's coming through on the camera, but if not, you'll just have to take my word. This suede on this whole upper is just amazing. I'm a big fan of it. I also like this color of green that they gave us for the outsole. I think that's pretty cool because everything is really, you know, tan and beige on the upper and the midsole and all that, but then it's got this pop of color underneath. And I always like that. I always like a little bit of color whenever you're not expecting it. And another thing that I really like about these is that on the outside of the shoe, there's no branding. But then on the inside, you can see that it's got that classic Chuck Taylor patch up here on the side. I like that they have a little bit of a minimalistic look to them. But getting started, here's that outsole. And honestly, I feel like the tread pattern looks a little bit different. It might be exactly the same. I might just not be used to seeing it in this bright green color. Either way, it's got a pretty cool looking tread pattern. It says Converse and has a star there in the middle of it. And it says All-Star. Also has a 10. This is a size 10. But it's like a whole lot of squares and diamonds for the tread pattern. And then wrapping up, the midsole looks a lot like your standard Chuck Taylor midsole, with the exception of the fact that it's got this antique look to it. And it really reminds me of the Travis Scott, the Cactus Jack Air Maxes that dropped. I don't know if it was 2020. I think it was. I think that was last year that Travis Scott had those Air Maxes. But if you saw them, then you know what I'm talking about. It really just has that aged look like that does. Only I think that these look better. I think these look less brushed on and more natural, if that makes any sense. I know with the Travis Scott shoes, at least the pair that I saw, you could see the brush strokes all the way around the shoe, and I think they did better making this look a little bit more natural. You can tell that it was applied, but it looks a little bit more natural in my opinion. But then I already pointed out that it's got that font there on the midsole as well. There's a close look. And that reminds me of like Fragment. It reminds me of the Cactus Jack ones that I have. And it also reminded me of the Beijing Dunks that was a Fragment collaboration. And I think that's a real unique look. I like the look of that. I know some people have said before that they aren't too into that, but I think it's a cool touch. Another thing that I really like on these is the chrome looking metal on these little ventilation holes that you have down on the side. And then also going up the eye stays. I think that's pretty cool. Just how shiny silver they are. Just adds another little element of like a pop to the shoe that is pretty much all just earth tones and a little more under the radar. There's a good look at the Converse Chuck Taylor badge there on the inside of the shoe. And then, as I already mentioned, the outside half of the shoe is just plain. And I really, really like that. I like how classy looking that is. I think these would be real easy to rock with jeans and a t-shirt or a hoodie or flannel, you name it. I think these would go pretty well with just about anything. On the back, we've got these canvas stripes that are going up, and that's in like a beige or a sail color, and it just looks nice. And the tongue looks like it is also maybe, it looks like it might be like a nubuck or a different suede, but it's a little bit lighter of a color, and I really like that. I can't say enough good about the quality of this. You get a lot of change in color with direction, and I am just loving this pair of kicks. But we have some flat off-white laces